Okay, so here's my old hitch rack. I just took it off. This is a 1 1/4 inch hitch rack. And the reason why I got this 1 1/4 was because my last car was 1 1/4 and my rack was 1 1/4. So that's why I got this. But I just recently got another rack. But actually, let's look at my old rack. Here's my old rack, the 1UP Equip D. Right, and you see that it's a 1 1/4. They have an adapter to fit a 2-inch. So here's my new rack, and this is a Subaru CrossTrek. So anyway, so that's my 2-inch rack. So I got that. Maybe I should have got this in the beginning. Would have saved myself time from installation and also saved myself, like $150 for the old rack. This rack here was $250 maybe. This rack was $250. The other rack that I just showed you, that one was I think about $150. So maybe I would have saved myself $150. I just made $100. But anyway, so here's my new bike rack. VelociRAX. So I was debating on getting the VelociRAX versus getting the bigger 1UP. The bigger 1UP instead. Either way, I have to get the 2-inch hitch. But I was thinking about getting the bigger one, so that way I could fit a Surron in right on this one on the 1UP. Which rack was that one called? It was called the I think it was called the Extreme or something like that. I can't remember. But anyways, it was rated to hold up to I think 150 pounds for the inside tray, and the outside tray I think it was like 100 pounds. So I could have fit my Surron and my e-bike, right? And that's what I was planning on doing. But this one, obviously I haven't unboxed it yet. The tray, the first tray, the inside tray, closest to the hitch, that one could hold 250 pounds, and the outside tray, that one could hold 150 pounds. So I decided to go with that because that way I could actually fit like my little one of my mini bikes, my Honda Monkey or my Honda Trail in that spot. Then out here I could fit a Surron and in the trunk of the car, or I could fit the e-bike, right? And if I'm not riding an e-bike, I could probably on a regular acoustic bike, analog bike, I could probably take the wheels off and throw it in the roof rack, right? So if I'm going on a road trip, I have that gives me options, right? So anyways, let me unbox this. I'm gonna do it off camera so that way you guys don't need to see time wasting. I'll put all the boxes and spread it out so you can see how it's packaged. All right, so they're busted open. So these two trays, they look almost identical. Actually, I think this is the bigger tray. This is the inside tray, and this is the outside tray. But they look almost identical. I think they're probably exactly the same design. It's just the bigger tray is slightly bigger to hold more weight, and the other one's a little bit slightly smaller to hold a little bit less weight. And here's all the okay. And here's all the parts for the other stuff. So let me take all the stuff out so you guys can see have a better look. All right, so I got the first part on here. So I had a little bit of difficulty here with the pin. So here's the pin and the lock. All right, so that's the lock. So this pin goes straight through. But the interesting thing is that what they gave me, this pin right here, is actually smaller than the pinhole on the hitch. So I'm not sure what's up with that. But anyways, luckily for me, I had an extra sleeve. You can sort of see the sleeve right there, right? See the sleeve right there that sticks out? You can see on this side as well. See the sleeve right there that sticks out? So the sleeve takes up the slack, so it doesn't wobble around so much. And if you look at this thing, let me try to shake this thing. And I'm trying to shake it. It doesn't shake because it has an anti-wobble. So the anti-wobble is right here. So once I got it in, locked up, I tightened this up. So here's from the back side, that nut right here. So tighten that up, and it's the anti-wobble. So now it's nice and sturdy. So here I'm shaking it. It doesn't wobble, and you can hear nothing, right? Here's the lever right here to drop it up or down. So there it is. So now it's down. Okay, so now I'm gonna put on the other stuff. So before I go further, let me show you this. This should be the first clip that I'm doing. Obviously everything's in. I'm gonna edit this so that way this is the first clip that shows before assembly. So the washers here, if you look at the washers, this side right here is the rounded side of the washer, right? And this side right here is a little bit more square. So usually when I put things in, I like that rounded side to be against my my flat bit. That way, when it's rounded right here, it doesn't dig in and scratch into the paint. You make it so that way the square side is against the plate. When you tighten it up, that squareness, it's because it's a sharp edge. It could dig into, you know, when you tighten it up, it could dig into the paint and scratch the paint. So I will put the square side out towards the bolt, like so, and that way the rounded side is on the inside, the side that pushes, that butt up against the plate right here, right? So you should do that with all the washers on every part of the rack, and for everything that you do, you know, that's what I recommend. Unless you're doing something very specific, that will say, okay, you need that square edge to be on the specific side, so that way it holds better. And the only time I've ever seen that is on it's inside a motorcycle transmission. Where the gears are, where the little lock ring between the snap ring between each gears, so that way it helps holds it in. Otherwise, outside of that, I've never seen you know, which side is which as far as the preference. But so that's my preference, is because that way I don't want it to scratch the plate. All right, so got the two base for the trays on. This shoulder bolt has a washer on the outside, nylon locking nut, washer on that side as well. So there's four of them. There's one over here, one here, right? Here and here. So both these plates are kind of the same, but the one that's on the outside has the handle. Right, so that way you can fold it, you know, you grab this handle to fold this thing up or down. All right, so I got the first tray in. So actually, after taking it out of the bag and everything, looking at them, both of these trays are identical. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like that, or what's going on, but both these trays are identical. I thought the first tray was supposed to be bigger than the second tray, but I guess maybe not. So that's kind of weird. But anyways, let's look at how I mounted the tray. So this is without the tray, obviously. So you have four holes here. There's two on this side and two on that side, right? The two plates. So the tray basically just slides right in. The tray might be a tight fit, so you might have to push it down a little bit. And when you push it down, it'll slide right in. You only need 4 bolts and 4 washers. So basically these four bolts and 4 washers, you know, 2 on each side. And the nut for them is, you know, if you look at the tray right in here, see the little nut right there? So that's the nut right there. So that's probably the hardest part, is because when you put this on, you know, this nut will slide all over the place. So, but you know, that's simple. You know, just use your use the 8 millimeter that they give you, and stick it in there like so, and that way you could move this around. That's how you move the nut around. So just move the nut to about right here, and you can just push it in, then and stick this Allen key through the whole way to center that nut. Then you could put the bolt in, and that's it. It's pretty simple. Yeah. Okay, so I got both trays on. Man, it sticks out pretty far. Even the first tray sticks out pretty far from the car. That's understandable, because once you have the tailgate down, or you know, if you have the truck, the the tailgate up, you see how, you know, the handlebar potentially could, or the side of the bike, especially if it's a motorcycle because it's a little bit wider, it could hit the side of the car right here, right? So that's why there's this space right here. But anyways, so how this thing is set up, both front wheels are on the same side. So I'm not sure how that's gonna work, because usually when you have that, the problem usually is the handlebars will hit each other. But I think on the owner's manual, the instructions, the installation instructions, it shows that the front wheels right here is on the driver's side. So anyway, so that's how it is. So let's pop this thing up. Actually, let's look at how the tray tilts. So this handle right here, this tilts the tray like so. Oops. I guess there's not a bike on here, so it's not heavy enough to. You know, if there was a bike on here, it would drop down, because that's the heavier side usually, I think. But who knows? But anyways, so all right, that's that. All right. The inside tray, the handle is actually on the inside. I'm not sure why they did that. That's kind of weird. I think maybe the handles, if you put both handles on the inside, it might interfere. But you know, if you're here loading your bike, I don't know. That's weird. That's weird to me, to have that handle on the inside, because I think I would rather have that handle out here on the outside right here like this. So I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe they have a reason why they did that. But anyways, or maybe I could flip this tray around. You know, flip the whole mounting around, so that way it's staggered. That way, you know, the front wheels are not on the same side. Maybe, you know, if I do that, the handle will be on this side. But I'll have to see. I have to throw my bikes up here and see how that works. But you know, if I'm looking at the instructions shows that the front is on this side. And usually when you want to load, that's what you want to do anyways, because let's say if you're on a curb, if you're parked on a street next to a curb, so the curb's a little bit higher, so when this comes down, it tilts down, you know, the curb is a little bit closer to it, so it's a little bit easier to load, versus if you are on the street side, it's still steep on the side, so it's harder to load that way. I think, you know, that ramp that comes out right here. I can pull this out. Oh, can't do it with one hand. So I can't do it with that hand. Anyways, you need to pull this out right here. Then you can pull this out, and the tray comes out, or the ramp, I should say. The ramp comes out. And this right here is to fold it up. So let's see. All right, so, oh my God, this thing is heavy. Holy cow! Oh, maybe you needed two hands, but one. You know, I was doing it with one hand, and my weak hand too. So there, that's how it looks. Let's look over here. All right, so the space, and obviously I can't close my tailgate. I can't close the tailgate because I hit the rack. So that was the same way that my one up was like that as well. So let's close the trunk and bring this up and see how it goes. Oh my God! Oh okay. Whew. Okay. So there's the car, all right, and there's the space between the car and the rack. So this rack is huge compared to my one up. Again, I have the one up D rack, so it's not that big. But anyways, yeah. I mean, again, I'm looking at this. If I don't like this thing, I could just and I could just, you know, take this apart right here, and I could just flip this around, just like how this thing is flipped around. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that or not. We'll see. Interesting. This thing has a little wheel right here. That's pretty interesting. usually when you have a wheel like that, that's because I don't know why they have that wheel. I'm guessing maybe because they're worried that if you like if you know if you're on a steep driveway or something like that, this rear end might hit the driveway, so the wheels here will roll on this instead of the metal gouging into and digging into the driveway, and you know and damaging the rack and also digging into the driveway as well, right? Gouging your driveway. So with those wheels, that won't happen. So that's kind of that's what I'm guessing it is. That's actually a pretty clever design. I don't think I've ever seen any other rack that has a design. So that's cool. Anyways, yeah. So here it is. Again, this is on a CrossTrek. So CrossTrek is, you know, it's a relatively small SUV. It's not really SUV. A CUV, I guess you could call it a CUV. But anyways, so my hitch is a class 3, I believe, class 3 hitch. It's a class 3, I think. But anyways, the hitch right here is rated for 600 and something pounds, 650, 675, something like that. So over 600 pounds. So I think this rack alone is already 100 and I think it's like 150 pounds or something like that, 125, maybe 150. So the weight of the rack, plus, you know, let's say you have a dirt bike, the inside tray limits 250 pounds, the outside tray is 150, so that's 250, 350, 400 pounds, 500 something with a rack. You know, so basically it's under 600 pounds, so it's still under the weight of the of my rack. And you know, and apparently the Subaru CrossTrek could hold it because draw tight. This is a draw tight made it for this car. You know, that this rack is for this car. And you're wondering, oh, all that weight is gonna make the back end sag. That's true, but I have, oh, you can't see it because it's dark now. But anyways, I have some RallyTech right here. See, it's blue. I have some RallyTech overload springs. So RallyTech makes they make lifted springs. Mine are not. Well, they are, but they're not. They're lifted only half an inch, and the reason why it's half an inch is because the springs are so much firmer that they don't squat down that much. So that's why it's half an inch higher than factory. But anyways, so I have the overload springs. The front is overload is 20% firmer. The spring rate is 20% more firmer than in the front, and the back the spring rate is 40% firmer. So RallyTech says that for this overload 40% firmer spring, it was intended to be like an overland style setup where you constantly have stuff on your car, like like I have all this stuff on my car. So it's supposed to be like a constant, I think, extra, what was it, like extra 400 pounds or something like that, I think they said. I can't remember exactly, but something like that. So, it's a pretty high number. So here I have this constant weight or whatever. Then so basically it's no big deal with the bikes on there and everything. It's it is more than that 400 pounds, and it's also it's leverage out here versus being in the trunk over the rear axle. So I think the rear end is going to sag a little bit, but it's not going to be anywhere near as much sag as the factory springs for this car. But anyways, so yeah, so it's the sun's already set. It's already, I think it's already 8 o'clock or something. So actually past 8 o'clock. Sunset's at 8:30 right now, I think. So it's past 8:30, almost 9 o'clock. I'm gonna call it a day. Tomorrow when it's light out again, I will bring the trays down and put some bikes up on here so you guys can see what it looks like. By the way, this is pretty cool so far.